All right, we're getting ready to start. Hi, everyone. This is Elsie Wu with Abundance 99, and this is installment number 4 of our property insurance series. We're very happy to have and grateful to have Sterling Fairholm here with us, educating us on the changes in the insurance marketplace and also some basics of different types of insurance policies. In the first segment, we talked about homeowners and condo insurance. In the second segment, we talked about rental property landlord insurance. In the third segment, we talk about course of construction and insurance for flippers. And then in this segment, we're going to be talking about general liability, premises liability, and professional liability. So Sterling, if you would please get us started by introducing yourself and your role in this space.
Certainly. So my name is Sterling Fairholm. I'm the broker and owner of Reliance Insurance Brokers. I am a property and casualty broker. Property and casualty means that we do everything related to business, personal, and property insurance. We do not get involved with health, dental, vision, life, and that side of things. And we are specializing, in helping people that are in this tough market right now find options that work for them.
Great. All right. So in this segment, we're talking about premises and general liability first, and then professional liability. Sterling, would you define those three different insurance liability insurance policies for us?
Sure. So general liability as a whole is kind of how it sounds. So it's generalizing liability, and it could come from lots of different areas. But the easiest way to describe general liability for all different manners of businesses is typically revolves around injury related to a claim for bodily injury or property damage. So someone gets hurt in the course of what your business is doing. That's general liability. If you were to somehow damage property in the course of your business, that is property damage, which is general liability. The biggest difference between general liability and premises liability is that general liability will cover you wherever you go. So as a contractor, you are not at your house doing your work, you're at someone else's house. That liability insurance extends to wherever it is you go that your business takes you. Whereas premises liability, it revolves around a particular location or premises. So where this comes into play is typically this is around leasing as the biggest issue. So if I was to be leasing a warehouse and I wanted to lease that warehouse because I needed room to store my extra Christmas decorations, I'm not a business at that point. We have people that like to store their custom cars in a warehouse that they collect and they don't have garage space. Now, you're not a business. You don't have general liability. You wouldn't need general liability for what you're doing, but your landlord is going to require you to have liability. And in order to solve that is to get premises liability. So premises only liability is very, very uncommon compared to other liabilities, but it typically has to do with liability only that happens at that location. It does not have any role in the ongoing operations or where your business takes you, which is why most businesses carry general liability because premises would be almost useless for them.
Got it. So as a homeowner, the insurance that I have on my property in case someone trips and falls, or if the fence falls over and hits somebody, that would be premises liability or general liability?
It's actually called personal liability on a homeowner's insurance. Personal liability extends to wherever you are. So if you are being sued or held responsible for something that's your personal responsibility. So it could definitely happen at your premises, something happening, someone slipping and falling at your house, tripping down the stairs, something falling on them, a ladder coming down. That's going to happen on the premises. But technically, that liability would also extend to you on a golf course hitting a golf ball through someone's window. That is your personal liability. Now, would you make a claim for that? Maybe. But you could also be covered for slander, or you could get into an argument with someone and they could say, you defamed them, or those are all other things that are covered by personal liability, which is something that you only find on a homeowner's policy or on an umbrella, for a personal umbrella. So when we're talking about general liability and premises liability, those are both only things found in business spheres. because personal liability is not an option for business.
Very interesting. Okay, so I'm a real estate agent. I host open houses. If someone trips on the premises where I'm hosting an open house, whose insurance covers that?
Well, it depends on who's sued. So if I am the person that's viewing the house and I slip and fall, there's a possibility if I'm critically hurt, then I'm going to sue both the realtor and the homeowner. So in that case, the homeowner's insurance would defend the homeowner, and the realtor's general liability would cover defending the realtor. And defending also means paying out if there's a judgment.
Okay, so in that case, if both are sued, then I assume the real estate agent and the homeowners insurance carriers would figure out who pays what.
Well, yes, but I mean, realistically, it's two separate lawsuits at that point. So even though it's one lawsuit, they're naming two separate people. So it will not be one company that defends both. It will be most likely it's going to be the realtor's insurance defending the realtor's exposure, because they have different exposures. If the person hurt themselves because the realtor put out a rug as part of staging, well, now we have not only the realtor but the stager that would be sued. If the person who was viewing the home was going up the stairs and one of the railing on the stairs collapsed and the person fell, well, that has nothing to do with the realtor. So even though the realtor might be named, the homeowner is the one that's going to most likely be responsible. So it really comes down to, when it comes to a claim or injury, it's going to be, who's responsible and who's named in the lawsuit. Because I've seen lawsuits where they name everyone under the sun for no reason whatsoever. They could name, the realtor's parent company just because. And so it really depends on who's named in the lawsuit, if there is one. If someone just falls down, it doesn't necessarily mean anyone's responsible. And it doesn't always mean that there's a claim or someone that's actually at fault. So that's why it typically comes down to a lawsuit of some kind to be filed before insurance will kick in.
Okay, and how does this relate to professional insurance?
So there's a pretty big distinction, and there's not a whole lot of overlap. In fact, there's really no overlap at all. A general liability, as I mentioned, is bodily injury and property damage. So those are two very real situations for someone like a contractor or electrician, or someone that could not only hurt someone, but they could also do damage to someone's home or business. Professional liability is also known as errors and omissions. Those are synonymous. They're the same coverage. Professional liability and errors and omissions, or E&O, which is the short term for it, that is someone having a financial loss. And a financial loss is going to be very different. So going back to that same situation with the realtor, and you saying, hey, who's going to be responsible in this situation? Let's say that the realtor did a very poor job of maybe explaining the details of the house, or didn't disclose things on the house that they knew about, or over embellished certain things in the listing. And let's say that either the buyer or potentially the seller kind of caught wind of that and realized that I didn't get what I should have gotten for this house because you said all these things were wrong. Well, no one got hurt. So, but that seller may say, they may try to sue you for $100,000 because of something that realtor did. That is a financial loss. That is a professional liability claim. Now, there's lots of frivolous ones in that same sphere as well. So oftentimes what we care about from a financial standpoint is the cost to defend, because you will spend tens of thousands of dollars defending yourself in a frivolous lawsuit. So being named in a lawsuit, whether it's really something that went wrong or not, is all errors and omissions or professional liability.
Got it. What about umbrella? If I, as an insurance agent, as an insurance broker, if I have a personal umbrella policy, does that cover any of this?
It does not. So anything related to a business, and you said it right there, personal umbrella. So there's a personal umbrella and then there's a commercial umbrella. A commercial umbrella goes over commercial related products like professional and general liability. A personal liability umbrella covers over personal liability products like auto and homeowners. So if your auto and homeowners cover something, then the umbrella over your personal would cover above and beyond. It does not extend to anything related to business. Now, you could have a situation where a homeowner is part of a lawsuit and their homeowners is covering it or covering to defend them. And the realtor is in a lawsuit and their commercial liability is protecting them. But that's only because the realtor is operating a business and the homeowner is just at their home. It doesn't mean that there's overlap between one to the other.
Got it. Again, another complicated topic.
It's very
a lot to learn.
me as as an insurance broker, I do carry both general and professional liability. The reality is my general liability though is so small, my exposure, because it would really be someone coming into my office and hurting themselves, because there's not much that I can do to cause someone injury or property related items. So my exposure and the majority of what I pay for and carry is professional, because I'm giving my opinion and I'm doing things that could cause someone else a financial loss very easily. And if my actions were to cause someone to not have enough insurance for something, or me not explaining something properly, or writing someone an email and saying, hey, this and this and this is covered, when in reality, looking at the policy, it's very clearly not covered. That's an errors and omissions, and that's where my professional liability kicks in. So from my business aspect, we have a huge exposure to professional risks.
Got it. And I think most real estate agents do as well.
Correct. Realtors, mortgage brokers, people on this side of a professional industry. Technology, I mean, anything in the tech field is a huge professional risk. Anything that's related to websites and domains and internet and so on, the majority of the risk is going to be professional and cyber related. There is very little general liability risk in most professional fields. There's not a whole lot of industries where both general and professional are very expensive, because they have such a large exposure to both sides. It's just not very common. You're either a large professional risk or a large general risk.
Got it. And then you mentioned this word, cybersecurity. That's an additional endorsement that people get now, right?
Yeah, it could be an endorsement, or it can be, depending on your risk, it can be its own policy. So you can endorse cyber liability onto homeowners insurance now in some cases, but onto general liability, occasionally you can add cyber. It's an endorsement. Sometimes it'll go as high as $1 million, or you can have a standalone cyber liability policy. Typically, the standalone policies are going to be better coverages and endorsements than the add-on endorsements from general liability.
So, for example, for me as a mortgage broker, I could get just a standalone cybersecurity policy and not the professional liability policy.
Correct. Though I believe someone within the mortgage broker hierarchy will be required by law to have professional liability to operate the transactions, because of the fact that there could be the financial loss would be the only real exposure on the mortgage side. Very little professional or general liability losses or bodily injury claims would come from a mortgage transaction.
Right, right. So for our audience of real estate investors, real estate brokers and agents, do you have any advice about liability coverages, where to start, or anything else we should know?
Yeah, I think that the key is to find out, where the coverage is going to come from. So I'm going to say that I assume in most cases, a realtor is going to be part of a larger group, a Keller Williams or a Coldwell Banker or a Berkshire Hathaway. Those organizations carry a professional liability policy. And oftentimes I've heard of various ways that they give that down to the producer, whether it's transaction per transaction based, or if it's a flat fee. You'd always like to have them cover all that exposure as well. But you would want to find out, do you get that through your company that you hang your hat? Because I would say 90+% of the time that would be the case. For those that are kind of going off on their own and starting something from scratch, just know that you do need to carry both professional and general liability to cover all your bases. But your bigger risk is professional, because you can be brought in on a fraudulent transaction and you want to be defended by someone, so you don't have that cost yourself.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Sterling. This has been very, very useful, all 4 segments. And we'll be coming back to you for a marketplace update sometime next year. Hopefully there will be some good news.
I hope so.
All right. thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you Sterling for doing all 4 segments for us, and for everyone else, for all the viewers, if you're interested, please join us. Please subscribe so you can be made aware of new updates from Sterling and other industry experts on topics such as property insurance, tax, property management, and things of that nature. All right. Thank you, everyone, and happy holidays.
Thank you,
Bye,
Elsie.
Sterling.